Hey folks, just like everybody else, for the longest time I've used one of these standard cycling computers. No matter how fancy they are, they're usually cheap. They use the magnet on the spokes and you have to adjust it, and you have to have more than one if you have different wheel sets, and they come out of alignment and you lose the connection with your unit, and before you know it, you're frustrated to no end. Was definitely frustrated to no end at some point. And I ended up buying this. This is a little Lezyne Micro C GPS. This is the color one. And in the next few minutes, I'm just going to give you an idea of my experience using it. If you go online at lezyne.com, you're going to see these GPSs, current GPSs they offer. 2017 models, year 10 I think they call them as well. This is the one I'm talking about. And if you scroll up, there's actually a comparison chart. If you open that one up, you're going to see them here side by side, all models, what they can offer and what they can do for you. I picked this specific one because of its size and because it pretty much offered everything that the Super GPS gives you in just a tinier footprint. If you're looking for support on these devices, here on the support tab, yes, aside from seeing Danny Macaskill here, it looks like he's one of the product ambassadors. Go here on the downloads, and aside from charts and other things, year 10 product comparison charts, you have them here. Manuals, again, you're looking for year 10 stuff, GPS devices 2017. But if you scroll down even further than this is the software portion where you can download the new firmware for your devices. These are being updated constantly, so you have to keep an eye on this, because otherwise there is no way to know whether there's new firmware available or not. Once you download your firmware update from here, you just launch it and it's going to show you this tiny page. And definitely I would recommend doing the firmware update just as you get the unit, because mine, for instance, had really old and buggy firmware. In typical fashion, Lezyne ships this in the little Lezyne branded bag, black little box. Tells you that their app is available on the App Store or Google Play. This can do ANT+ and Bluetooth, as you probably already know. And then a few more things about the unit here. You can see here, microcolor GPS is 48 grams, is right here on this little tab. And on the back, just ideas of what you're going to see on the screen. I wish the screen was this visible and had this high contrast. As you will see, this is actually not the case. The unit already has the X-Lock installed on the back, so push hard and twist to the left and it will just be removed. And this is the GPS unit. Also in the box here you have this little rubber plug that sits right behind your mount here against the handlebar. That's one thing. You have two sets of rubber bands. This gets attached to the handlebar using the rubber bands. An USB cable. This is micro USB, used for charging, downloading information, firmware updates and things like that. And all you have here is an English, in my case English, quick start manual. Those of you not familiar with the unit at all, it's good to take a look. It shows you the functions on the four buttons, and then here charging, how to keep that USB tiny seal, and then also how to install it. Also here on the side you're gonna get the list of the menu items available to you. Unfortunately, there's no explanation to any one of them, and a couple of them require that. So here's the unit. I'm ready to install it. There's not much to see on the back. You see the X-Lock mount, how it looks. It has screws here. I wouldn't recommend opening it up. You also have a couple of tiny holes. I assume that's for a temperature sensor probably. And then this is your USB cover. You just peel it off like this, pretty much pull on it till it opens up. and then you have your micro USB, plug it in here for charging or for upgrading firmware and things like that. To put this back, you just push it back on, and you make sure you have no gaps here up top. The Lezyne lock is pretty secure. You can see it here on a 35mm bar. I assume if you install it on a stem, it would be pretty similar to this. I've also had it installed on a 31.8 handlebar, and that was just fine. It's very simple, about 45 degrees, push down, rotate, it rotates in place, and it's not moving much. You can actually operate the buttons as you're riding and things like that. To remove, same thing, push down, twist, and it comes right off. The stack height of the whole unit, it's about, as you can see it here, is about 3 centimeters straight from the handlebar. Then looking at the unit itself, another 3 centimeters width. Height is exactly 5, and I already know that my screen is about an inch, a square inch, so 2.5 centimeters a little square. This is the power on or off, enter, lap time, and menu. Also you have up and down here, and this is a back button. So if I long press here on the top left, fires up the unit. As you can see up top, I don't have GPS signal right now. If I press here on the bottom right to try and start a lap, you can see that it's still looking for GPS data. Also, this is popping up usually asking you to launch their app. The reality is the unit works without the phone, without their app. I don't want to ignore, so I use the back button. From the top, left or right, as you could see me doing it, I can go through the few pages that I have set up with information. You can actually scroll through these as you're riding or not. At the bottom here, you would see the sensors connected to the unit. Right now, I don't have any. I'll show you just a couple of tricks in the menu. So long press on the top right corner, that brings you to your menu. The menu here is, so this is the back button, this is the enter button, up and down. So alert, let me go in. It can alert you after distance, time, calorie. This timeout here is a tricky one. All the pop-ups on the screen will be on for the whatever time is set up in here. As you go down, auto lap is in there and a few others. Up until version 393, you can only set up one bike. With the newer firmware, you can set up more than one bike profile, which is a great thing. Personal information, various records, so data saved onto the unit right now. So if I just go in here and you do a review, for example, here is the rides, my previous rides, and if you go enter one more time, it's actually going to give you some useful information about the ride, what you have left. I have 175 hours of memory left. Then you have screen, where you set up the information that shows up on the screen, how many lines, and then notifications, what kind of font you want. For this tiny unit, I would keep it at large font, and backlight, definitely I would pump it all the way up to 100%. And then info about the GPS. As you look in here, you're gonna see that the firmware on this one is 393. Like I mentioned to you earlier, you also have information about how many satellites you're connecting to, your battery, as you can see it here, and so on and so forth. To start a lap, you just press here at the bottom, and as soon as you see recording, the unit is now recording the information as it sees it. Auto pause on mine is set to on. That's why it actually stopped, because you didn't see anything moving. So I'm in local position. You can see here the map or the breadcrumbs of where I've been, and then this is the information that you set up. To stop recording, long press on the bottom right, and here you have the option to resume, save, discard, or do other things. In this case, I'm going to discard the information. Back inside, as soon as I plug this onto my USB port here, computer USB port, the computer is going to see it. My unit is going to start charging. So by default, if you just plug it into a power source, it's just going to start charging, and it's going to flash like that until it's full, and that's going to give you a solid battery icon over there. So I downloaded the new firmware. This is 4.114A, and over here you see the old one that I'm running right now. I have the option right here on the screen to update to 4.114. The first thing that I think I'm going to do is just restore the unit to factory defaults. I don't have anything fancy in there. I want to make sure that the new firmware is being installed cleanly. Just keep in mind that when you do that, you wipe out all the saved information, whether that's about phones connected, sensors, or saved data. So if you haven't uploaded already your rides to the cloud, I would do that first before doing any factory defaults. When you default this device and straight out of the box, this is what these are the very first menus that you're going to have to go through. So you can select the language, the units that you want to use, age, weight, height, and things like that. And here is back onto my screen. All I have to do is just click on update the device. Please do not unplug. I want to unplug it. So that's it. That's the end of the process. You get that okay. Latest software is installed on the device. Okay. It's done. Okay, new firmware installed. You can see here I have a couple of sensors connected to it. The only things that I could see that are different in this new firmware, first of all, if you look here on the screen, you're going to see that you have bike 1 mentioned, and it shows that there's no phone connected to it right now. Also, you have my couple of sensors that are already connected to the GPS unit. Long press top right. If I go here under the screen, this is where I notice a difference. So you have this background menu. You can go in and change from black, the default or the previous option, to white. And if I keep it as white, so it's what it says. Pretty much everything is a white background with black writing on it. I'm not sure that is any more visible than the black, but that's the only difference that I see with this new version onto the unit itself. That also means that I could not find anywhere to change to add a second bike, so I just couldn't do it here onto the unit. However, if you go under phone and connect your phone, here under the phone menu you would connect your phone, whether you have iPhone or Android, or you want to reset. In my case, I have an iPhone. Obviously you would go in, make sure that your Bluetooth is on, because this is going to connect Bluetooth, BLE. So Bluetooth connectivity, I hit enter here. It's going to say that's already paired, because it is, and then you're pretty much good to go. As soon as you do that, see, it shows you the battery level here. Even on the front screen, the landing page, it shows you have 40% battery left. And then just go on to your phone, look for their application, is this one here, GPS Alley. And by default it's going to start here. Actually looks for new files on your device that's already connected to your phone. If you go to rides, it's going to show you information here, navigation, and this is on the right tab at the bottom. The app settings, the account settings, Strava life segments. Even if you don't have a premium on Strava, this will still going to upload to Strava as soon as you upload it to the cloud. I have GPS settings, which is new. Design track, like a breadcrumbs, just to let your family know where you are. But again, this is the new menu here that is general setup, which is pretty much everything but bike and screen layout, and bike and screen layout. Just by going in, you can see the alerts, auto, personal navigation, screen, and time. This is pretty much the menus from the GPS unit. I love the fact that I can configure it here on my big screen. And then bike and screen setup. It's the first time I get into this menu, but by the look of it, I just go in here. Can I rename it? Yes, I can. So here is wheel circumference, bike weight, odometer. You can reset that, obviously. That's pretty neat. And then, in my case, I can go on the bike and add the bike number 2. Save to GPS, yes please. And as I go into the menu in my bike 2, I can call that the Smuggler, because that's my other bike. Save, go back, go back. Here on the GPS, I can see I'm on the track. I have 2 sensors connected, and I just started recording a ride, and here it is. And here's the screen. Hope you see it all right. I have it put on scroll. So this is going to go from page to page to page, but I wanted to do it this way so you guys can see the different views. That's the 3 lines. Here's the 2 pieces of data on the screen. You can see how it is. And after this, you're going to have one more screen with just 1 piece of data. That is it. Once you're done with your ride, all you have to do, hold down bottom right, save, and once it's saved, if you connect it to your app, just go here, and you're gonna see that you have this ride right here that you can actually upload. You can upload, sync to cloud, or just a mobile. Evening ride is just fine. Okay, and as soon as it's done, not only that it's gonna upload to your Strava, like you can see it right there, your ride is ready to view, but it's also available to view here distances and other information as well. Also, if you go on the Lezyne website, you're also going to be able to see this ride on their interface, which is something similar to Strava as well. But there's one more thing. I finally realized how to change the profiles. If you just go up here, top left, the menu where before was no menu, it was just power off. Right now it gives you the option to go through your profiles, and you can see my 2 bikes, or power off. Remember that you have to set up the profiles in the app, otherwise you cannot really set them up over here. But with that being said, I am actually really happy with this new firmware. Alright, so what do I think about this little guy? I really like it. It's very useful. It's not perfect. It's small. I have 1 square inch of screen over here. If you look at this one, this is probably better. I don't have to worry about stuff like this, sensors, magnets and whatnot, because I use it with a pair of these are N+ sensors from Garmin. The beauty of these ones is that they don't require any sort of magnet attached to anything. Also, if you do mountain biking like I do, you might want to consider something like this, which is a speed sensor, because otherwise the GPS data through the woods is quite inaccurate, probably north of 10% inaccuracy. Also use it with the heart rate monitor, which is both Bluetooth and N+. I connected N+ to my GPS unit. I connected Bluetooth to my phone, so very convenient. And yeah, in case you need to install this on more than 1 bike, you can buy these mounts separately. I think that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to keep an eye on my channel, and until next time, I will see you on the trails. Cheers, guys. Cheers.